New tech is always trending from any and all companies. Companies innovate monthly, and it's not all about one corporate giant controlling the industry. This is Innovational, the newest tech podcast. Welcome to Innovational, the newest tech podcast. This episode is entitled Accessory Attempts, and for good reason. Multiple companies have been putting out mobile accessories and cool tech that we gotta check it all out. But some of it's good and other stuff is bad. So we got to go through and we got to kind of talk about what's going on here. Let's talk about Samsung. Samsung's been doing a lot of stuff lately. I'm really on board with Galaxy Fold. If it were to run iOS, I would be like in love with it. I don't use Android personally, but Galaxy Fold got delayed indefinitely. That is hard for a lot of people who are looking to get it ASAP. It's delayed indefinitely. They got to make some adjustments, kind of make it a little better. But really, let's talk about the Fold for a second. It's a marvel in mechanical technology, right? There's a crease in the center of the screen, but that's just because we're literally making an 8-inch screen that can fold in half. And let's talk about that for a second. The hinge. Do you know how big a hinge is? A hinge is pretty big to be slapping on the side of a smartphone. They had to make a gearbox. And that gearbox is really intricate and it's insane. The screen, obviously, and this is key, it needs to be made of plastic because it's folding. I can't fold glass. That's going to break. Reviewers actually peeled off a screen protector looking wrap. It looked like it was screen protector, but it really actually wasn't. Instead, it was just the screen. It had a tab on it and everything. It was really weird because it looked like you were to peel it off. In fact, the Galaxy S10 had a screen protector that looked just like that on it. This plastic was a little thicker, and, everyone loves peeling off a fresh screen protector, kind of getting their new phone out, So, of course, people would. Now, they peeled it off, and it was useless in 1 to 2 hours. The screen was black. It wouldn't work. You couldn't control it. Other reviewers, and this is much more scary, they had their screens just stop working. If your screen just stopped working, how would you feel? Like, you didn't do anything. The screen just stopped working. That's a Samsung fault. And now Samsung readily replaced everyone's phone because they want to keep it, the market up. But still, it doesn't look too good, right? And it's not boding well for Huawei's foldable phone. And Huawei being the small company that they are in China, I think that Samsung's going to be able to do more innovation than Huawei. But you never know. Maybe Huawei comes out with the next big thing and they beat Samsung to it. Hey, I just thought I'd note this before this video completely comes to an end, but Huawei actually got completely banned by the US government. We can't do business with them, so Google cannot give them license for Android. And so Huawei will not be making a foldable phone that runs Android or iOS. They'll have to make another piece of software that it can run, and it won't be selling in the United States. Now, the reasons that they actually did this mainly had to be due to the president and a lot of other people, and I personally do think this is happening as well, thinking that the Chinese are using Huawei to spy on the U.S. government, and so they completely banned them. They even did some raids on their government. And so that are on their the government, the U.S. government did raids with the FBI on their HQ. So they were getting just about every reason they could. Oh, let's raid Huawei again. See if we can find some evidence that says, oh, you're a spy. So that's part of the thing, is that Huawei was spying. Most likely that's why they've been terminated with the United States. Now we can do business with other Chinese companies, and other companies can do business with Chinese, such as Tencent, who can still publish their game. But Huawei has been completely banned because there is reasonable proof, according to the United States, that they have been spying on us, and so that's why. Some people won't care, other people will care a million. So that's just part of the stuff. Speaking of Samsung innovations, they've answered Apple AirPods. Because who hasn't? Remember when AirPods were trending 2 months ago? Well, Samsung tried to do that. I don't know if it's trending or not, but they tried to do that. These are wireless Bluetooth earbuds that work with iOS and Android. They work best with those Samsung devices. So it actually took 9 seconds for popular tech reviewer Linus Sebastian, who is from Linus Tech Tips, to automatically pair his Galaxy Buds with his Samsung device. So a lot like your everyday AirPods and those kind of earbuds that work with those devices, these things are automatically pairing. Now, the buds are kind of customizable because on iOS, the apps, you customize the touch screens on, and they're not screens more than they are the touch surfaces on the side of the earbuds. They're just non-existent. And on these non-Samsung Android devices, you have to install it. So on iOS, if you want to make pause on your right side, you have to have an Android device, because on iOS, the app to customize it is not there. You can't tap on your left side to pause it. I think it's by default on the right side or left side, whatever. You can't control things. That's the important thing. Now, unlike AirPods, obviously since Apple copyrights their EarPod and their earbud style, they actually have to have the normal silicone ends, and some people and a lot of people really like them. And that means that they can add different sized silicone ends, and that's really actually pretty awesome. It's going to help it fit comfortably in your ear, say many people. Now, let's talk about Apple. We've been talking a lot about Samsung, which is Apple's #1 competitor when it comes to everything besides fridges and washing machines. So what if I told you that your phone comes in at 51% less battery power than is advertised? What would you say? Apple lied about battery life, because people tested it, okay? And it's not good. Apple's been lying about this for what's been found for pretty much since the beginning in 2007 when the first iPhone was introduced. The battery comes in at 18% to 51% less than advertised. That's according to MyHighPlains, which a link to them will be in the show notes. Some testing was actually done on new phones fresh from the store in the UK, where all this data comes from. And that's what's crazy, is that they're sealed phones that they just they undid for the first time. They pulled them out and they tested the battery, and it came in from 18% to 51% less than advertised. I believe the iPhone XS Max was at 51%. So if you have that phone, I'm sorry. And that's crazy, because that's a huge lie. That's 50%. That's half of the battery life that's not there. Actually, according to ZDNet, all iOS devices have an algorithm that's reporting 100% at battery life, and it's actually at less, more like 97. Now, the argument can be made that this is just to make sure that people don't overcharge the devices, but then there's another argument that has to be made. Are people well educated enough in order to not overcharge their devices automatically? That's the question that we have to ask here. And I think, especially me being the tech enthusiast I am, I tend to agree with show me the real stats, Apple. Now, I'm not going to just go buy a Samsung device today because of this. Like, I'm a loyal Apple fan. I got their products. I'm not just going to go quit on them because of this. But it's disappointing, to say the least. Let's talk about another Apple product. It's called AirPower. Anyone ever heard of it? We gotta have a status update, man. Apple actually announced the cancellation of AirPower. This is their take on wireless charging. I was so excited for this product on March 29th. So let's look at it, all right? Some of the features were going to be support for the iPhone 8 and above, Apple Watch, and AirPods. Now, here's the thing. I have a Qi charger, and I'm using it right now, actually. I'm sitting at my desk recording this podcast, and I have a Qi charger, right? And my phone is on that. iPhone 8 and up, they have wireless charging built in, and that's what's great. Now, what was going to be so different about this is it was going to be so long, and it would support all of your devices. It would support my watch. It would support, if I had AirPods, it would support those. But what's going to be so cool is that you were going to be able to monitor charge on all devices on the charger on one device's screen. Kind of like how your iPhone can report your Apple Watch's battery life. And I think the tech is possible at this time, but some people were saying that they didn't think so. They were skeptical, and they took the cancellation as proof that the tech wasn't makeable yet. Now, obviously, the yet is always there because someone's going to innovate. There's going to be a new innovation in the market, and that's what's so important about the technological industries right now. And that's why you should really get a job in computer science and stuff like this, because the jobs are so high paying right now because of how much innovation is happening and how much money and boom is coming out of this industry. It's kind of like the video gaming industry. You just get so much out of it. So more and more people are getting employed in this area, and that's even a little bit of computer science in there. Now, let me talk to you. AirPower is actually showing no signs of return. There's nothing about it on Apple.com except on that discussion forum, and it's a shame. It was just going to be so cool, right? Let's delve into that video game world I was mentioning earlier. Tencent, the popular game developer of PUBG, they dropped PUBG in China because they couldn't get a monetization license from the Chinese. Okay, so the Chinese government, well, Tencent approaches the Chinese government, says, hey, we want to make money off of our game. We want people to buy crates in our game. We want people to get skins for weapons in our game. And Chinese say, no, we don't want you making money off of that. Tencent looks at them and says, what? And the issue is that the Chinese government is communist. It's not capitalist. And so the government controls the economy quite literally. So monetization licenses are a quite literal thing. And with the president extending his term for infinity, that is something else. And it's gonna be there for quite some time. Well, Tencent retaliates and develops a similar game, but with a lot of patriotism and propaganda toward the Chinese government, and the game was accepted for monetization status. It's not surprising. It's literally becoming more and more like North Korea at this point. It's like, okay, so like in North Korea, it's obviously to a much more extent, but like here, we're talking about like they have an unofficial grip, and I'm going to give you an analogy in the American government in a second, but the Chinese government has a grip over the entire industrial area. They have a grip over everything. The tech industries, they got a grip over video games, they got a grip over the internet. Everything is gripped, everything is monitored, everything is controlled, and that's what's taken for granted all the time about America, and that's what's so scary. In fact, let's talk about this. A lot of times in movies, in North Korea, it's to a greater extent like everything. The Chinese area, it's a lot less, I think. I don't know for sure, but from my background information. But let's just give an analogy for a second. The United States Pentagon has actually been modifying scripts for quite some time. Movie scripts, that is. And what they've been doing is they've been holding collateral for the movie scripts almost. It's like, okay, well, actually, it's a lot of military movies because what their collateral is, well, we edit your script and you have the ability to fly an F-16 fighter jet in your movie. You literally are buying fighter jets from the Pentagon for some price probably, and then, oh yeah, can we look over your script and tweak it a little bit? And what they do is they make they self-proclaim the American Army and stuff like that. That's what they do. And I'm not saying it's bad. I'm just saying it's a little bit of propaganda. That's all it is. And propaganda shows up everywhere. Okay, we should be aware of that. You know, testimonial. If I'm a famous person and I say you should eat this salad, then that's testimonial. Okay, so some people are going to do that because I'm famous. Oh, we do whatever Jackson does. It's so strange, you know? But so be it. That's how the world is right now with the propaganda, and it has to be there to market. But anyways, my point being, the Chinese government wanted the industry, and the one of the leaders probably whispered to the Tencent developer, like, if you make a game that glorifies the Chinese and the Chinese government, then we might give you monetization status. Wink, wink, smile face. If it's not already implied in the meeting. And that's what's scary, is that more and more the industries are being controlled in that part of the world. And I feel bad for some of the people there. Thank you for watching. My name's Jackson, and I do a lot of stuff on social media. I do a lot of video games and stuff like that. My social channels are at ITGuy12 on YouTube, ITGuy123 on Twitch. So please check them out. Links are in the description for both of those. Innovation is key, and I want you guys to keep innovating, and that's why I called this Innovational. I want you to innovate your way into thinking. Innovation is great mind practice, so I leave you with this. Innovate your way out of some problems. Okay, so what is a problem? It's almost like the scientific method. Hey, what's the problem in my life? Okay, how can I fix this? Or what do I not like about this? What do I not like about this product or that product? Okay, well, let me try to fix that. What can we do to do that? And then you may find yourself making a hunk of money off of an innovation that other people agreed with. You guys, you can never go wrong from just drawing something on paper. So please, innovate every day. If you see something wrong, write it down. Talk to a friend, get ideas, all of this. Thank you so much for listening or watching, depending on what you're doing. My name is Jackson, or IT Guy 12, and I will see you guys in the next video that I upload to this channel. Bye-bye.